Good evening, everyone. It is September 5th. I'm going to call this regular meeting of the Laramie City Council to order. And if you'd like, you can join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. City Clerk, you can call the roll.
Gabriel.
Here.
Newman. Newman.
Here.
O'Doherty.
Here.
Pierce.
Here.
Richardson. Here. Shumway.
Here.
Somerville.
Here.
Cumby.
Here.
Harrington.
Here.
That's 9 present and 0 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. All right, council members, we're going to move into public comment on non-agenda items. If there's any member of the public that wishes to speak to the council on any item not on the agenda, please go ahead and come forward. If you're on Zoom, just raise your hands and we will invite you into the room. We will just need your name for the record. Come forward, sir, please. Just need your name for the record, and once you start, you'll have 3 minutes. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, City Councilman. My name is Robert Mark Armstrong. Some people call me doctor, but I find that kind of intimidating. This evening, I'm here to ask you to put prayer back in the beginning of your meeting. Back in the late 70s, there was a decision known as the Lemon Determination by the Supreme Court, and it was a 3-part test, and it was eroded time and time again. And last year in 2022, the Supreme Court ruled in Bremer versus City Council, or School Board, I'm sorry, that the test, under Lemon, it was a 3-part test. As the Supreme Court always likes the 3-part test. And under Bremer, I believe it's Bremer, the new determination is historic and traditional. And that is back to founding fathers, is where they want to go. And as someone who was born here in the city of Laramie, my mother was born in the city of Laramie, my grandmother was born in the city of Laramie. And for years and years and years, the city council was opened with both the pledge and a prayer. It can be something as simple as, God, creator of the universe, please give this council the wisdom to represent the people that elected us. And go on from there, whatever your agenda would term. It would give you the opportunity to bring the community together and get us back to historic and traditional openings of meetings. And I'd appreciate that getting on the agenda in the future and it being passed. And I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Armstrong, for taking time out of your evening to come before the council. Are there any other members of the public who wish to speak to the council on any item that's not on our agenda this evening? Please, Mr. McGlover. We will need your name for the record. You'll have 3 minutes.
Hello all, my name is Chris McGlover. Good evening. So I'm again just here as a larger group to try to present information to you guys. And if you guys do not read the newspaper, I regret to inform you that our airport is now under investigation for 7 specific allegations by the FAA. Now, our own Pete Gosar, our county commissioner, said that even 1 was bad. 7 is a trend, 7 is a pattern, 7 is outrageous. Now, it's not even just 7. Each one of these instances have multiple potential laws violated for each one. And I was just informed today, again, I'm just here as an informant, the FAA just told me that there was an 8th one that was just accepted by the FAA today that we're being investigated for. This is going to really hinder our future funding for the airport. I believe, and I really see this as a big challenge going forward. I seen on the agenda tonight, unfortunately, I will not be able to stay for it, but we are on the agenda is federal grants to help out the operations of the airport. And although I understand that lighting is a requirement, it has no bearing on my life or my ability as a pilot out there, but just your responsibilities to understand what obligations that puts the city at are big concerns of mine, that you guys are not aware of the federal obligations that we have accepting money like that. With that, I just wish that you guys would take that into consideration going forward. So, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for taking time out of your evening to join us. Any other members of the public wish to speak to the council on any item not on the agenda this evening? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public comment period and move to the vice mayor for setting of the agenda.
Thank you. I move that the agenda be set as submitted.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the agenda has been set. We will move on to proclamations, public hearings, and notifications, beginning first with presentations. And I would welcome, I think we have maybe Justin and Mac. Did I get that correct? Please come on forward for a presentation on human trafficking. And we appreciate you both being here this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we've carved out 5 or 10 minutes for you. Is that
Yeah.
sufficient? Okay, great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Please. All right. Well, you all can have at it. I don't know if you have a clicker or the city clerk can just help you move through the slides as you go.
Okay. Greetings, Mayor, council members, and everyone in attendance. I wanted to say thank you to everyone who made it possible for us to speak tonight. I hope that this creates some more dialogue and action regarding this topic. My name is Justin Scott, and this is Mac, and we're here to talk to you guys about our community anti-human trafficking campaign. Human trafficking is a multi-billion-dollar criminal industry that denies freedom to nearly 25 million people. Denies freedom to nearly 25 million people around the world. Trafficking is an epidemic. It occurs everywhere, even here in Laramie. I am the outreach director for Emmaus Road Community Church, which led me into this position of a task force coordinator for the Albany Advisory Council on Trafficking, or ACT. We were both born and raised here in Wyoming. I received degrees from Casper College and the University of Wyoming. Mac's currently working on her degree here in Laramie also. I medically retired from nearly a 20-year career as a first responder here in Wyoming. While in law enforcement, I was in a high-speed pursuit crash that ended in a head-on collision between me and the suspect vehicle. During that time, I suffered lots of injuries, including a brain injury, and that's hence why I read from notes. Nearly 1 year ago, we started forming as a task force through trainings and meetings. We began outreach work, reaching out to the community stakeholders and establishing relationships. We currently are following the guidelines set forth by the U.S. Department of Justice in forming and maintaining a community human trafficking task force. We have a leadership council of 8 volunteers, and after this summer recess that we just had, we're back on track for monthly meetings and trainings. We operate off of a small $1,000 budget that was received from an annual fundraiser, an adult prom dance that's held every year around Valentine's Day. That's all things prom, including spiked punch and crowning of the king and queen. So far, the funds have been used for website and domain information pieces to hand out to the public and luncheon meetings. I think you guys were given our operating guide, our operational plan. We provided that, and inside there is the executive summary. It addresses our mission statement, and in there I want to address 2 points: multidisciplinary approach and utilizing community resources. There's no one organization that can combat human trafficking. It really takes a community. However, some of our community organizations here in Laramie are stepping up. For example, I want to commend the Laramie Chief of Fire for training his staff on anti-human trafficking tactics. And I also want to thank the Chief of Police for his department and their support and involvement in the fight against human trafficking. Lastly, I want to speak about our community's need to address the 5 areas of focus down there at the bottom. When it comes to prevention, we're talking about the awareness, looking at the demand for human trafficking in our communities and our vulnerabilities here in Laramie. When it comes to identification, we're talking about training and outreach. Rescue, we're talking about the intervention of victims. Temporary shelter for victims and survivors, services and victims advocacy. Restoration is the aftercare and reintegration, and reform is regarding the legal policies and statutes that we have to follow. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to McKaylin, who's going to address our why and our goals.
Hi, everyone. Like Justin said, I'm McKaylin. I'm a student at the University of Wyoming studying elementary education. So I'm going to talk about our why and why we kind of became a part of this. Justin and I actually met at a kind of city meeting about human trafficking, and we kind of connected. We got each other's phone numbers, and that's how we connected, and that's why we're here today together. So kind of our why. So we really wanted to assist in the combating of human trafficking in Laramie and specifically Wyoming as a whole too. Like Justin said, we can't combat this, just the 2 of us. We have to have everyone involved in this, and we really want to combat everything that goes around human trafficking. If any of you know, human trafficking is a huge umbrella of different things, and it's important that people are trained on that as well. Why? We're collaborating. We're existing with community resources. We also, right now, we have Safe Project, Green Dot, we have other resources. We currently work with Uprising, which is a program in Sheridan, and that's where I'm from, so that's how I kind of got, in the know with them. And so we want to collaborate with those existing resources, build up those trainings, build up involvement in the community. And then finally, our why is to coordinate and provide trainings to everyone who wants to be involved. Like Justin said, we've had trainings for the police of the chief of fire. We've had trainings, like small trainings for people who just wanted to bring them into their meetings or whatever. And so we want to have the community involved in those trainings. And so that's kind of our why as to why we do things. So, like we kind of said, what we do right now, we're coordinating and providing training opportunities. So if you, in your jobs or anyone in the audience who's like, hey, I really want my job to be, trained in this opportunity, we can get that to you. We have connections with Uprising, with Safe Project, Green Dot, who can have people come in and train you and give you more information on what human trafficking is and how to hopefully combat anything that, those red flags that you might see using those, that new slogan that we hear, So next is the community collaboration. We collaborate with, the police station. We fire, anyone in the community we've been collaborating with. We, like Justin said, we have an 8-person volunteer group, and everyone is from all different places in the city of Laramie. And we're hoping to increase that so that we have more collaboration with more places to get more events started. And that also goes into our creating community awareness. Right now that we have an official logo, we're hoping to get that out more so that people are, hey, what's that logo look like? Who are these people? What are they doing? And we're creating that community awareness. And so with that goes into our goals. We're trying to, like I said, create more awareness events. Now that we have an official name for ourselves and an official slogan, we're really trying to create awareness for those events. The adult prom, trying to create more events for that, like those things. Next, we're trying to become a victim support center. So when we have victims, we want to be able to take care of them. We don't want to have to be able to be like, oh, we're so sorry, we have to push you off to another person. That just kind of creates that insecurity, and people don't want to do that. And if we can become that victim support center where they can come to us, we can give them anything and everything that they need. That is our ultimate goal. And then finally, creating organizations on campus. As a student, I would really love to see more students be involved in this. Currently, I think I'm one of the only ones in this organization, and I would love to see more involvement from those. And finally, what we kind of need from everyone in this room and even in the city of Laramie as a whole is involvement and any input and feedback that you feel like our community needs to help this program kind of increase in popularity and get our word out there. So, yeah, and that's all we have. If you have any other questions.
Thank you both. Council members, do you have any questions? Councilor Doherty, please.
What's the best way for the public to contact you?
Do you want to speak on that?
So we just built a website, and our website is actwy.org. So just our acronym, wy.org. Or I'll even hand out my phone number to anybody who wants to call me. My number is 307-359-2006. And if it's after 8 o'clock, I probably won't respond. But
That's fair. Councilor Doherty.
I'd ask if the city clerk could make sure that's showing on the presentation. So if anybody in the public who's seen the presentation, the website.
The website, yeah, let's put the website on the agenda. Thank you, Councilor. Any other questions, council members? Where are the most likely places for folks to run into people being trafficked? Do you have any sort of data about where that is most likely to occur, in particular in a city like Laramie that?
yeah, everybody thinks that we need to address the truck stops and the hotels, and we do. That's not a lie, but we also need to address people's homes, because a lot of this comes out of family trafficking. So it's not just one place or the next. It's kind of everywhere.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay. Well, thank you both for taking time to be here. We sure appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thanks for the work you're doing. And we have no other presentations. We do have one announcement. City Clerk, was that for you? Assistant City Manager, please.
Honorable Mayor, there was one announcement. It's going to be Brendan Brown from the Laramie Youth Council.
Mr. Brown, welcome.
Hello, Mr. Mayor. Hello, Councilman. So today I'm going to be talking about the Laramie Youth Walk at Pilot Hill. It will take place Saturday, September 16th at 10 p.m. The cost is free. Everyone is invited to join to walk at Pilot Hill and to promote mental health and well-being. You're invited to enjoy time together with your friends and family, enjoy the fresh air, meet new people, and learn about the resources available in our community. So yeah.
Great.
Yeah, and it starts at 10 a.m.
Great. Cool.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other announcements, Steph? Great. That was excellent. All right, we will move on to disclosures from members of the City Council. Any member of the council have a disclosure? Any item on the agenda this evening? Councilor Newman?
I need to excuse myself from voting on item 11 due to conflict of interest.
You bet. All right. We will move on to any other disclosures, council members? Okay. Vice Mayor, item 8.
Thank you. I move that the consent agenda be approved and that each specific action on the consent agenda be approved as indicated.
Second.
Okay, motion by Vice Mayor Cumby, second by Councilor Richardson. City Clerk, you can call the roll.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Somerville.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk, and I would like to just thank Mr. Bennett for serving as a magistrate for the Laramie Municipal Court. Councilors, we will move on to item 11. Councilor Shumway.
Thank you, Your Honor. I move to approve resolution number 23-66 to appoint Ellen Hope Hanisham and Madison Newman to the Laramie Youth Council for the 2023-24 school year and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign.
Second.
Motion by Shumway, second by Vice Mayor Cumby. Please, City Clerk, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is our second resolution to appoint Laramie Youth Council members. We're pleased to introduce you to Madison and Ellen tonight. With that, if they'd like to join us up here and just give you a few words of why they joined.
Thank you, City Clerk. Welcome to you both. The floor is yours. Just maybe give us a quick introduction of who you are.
I'm Ellen Hovanisian. I decided to try to join the Youth Council because I enjoy being a part of the community and especially with like-minded peers, and that prompted me to try to increase my involvement in the local area. And I'm also trying to learn some valuable skills and leadership experience through this, and I wanted to thank you all for the opportunity.
Thank you, Ellen. Madison?
Hi, I'm Madison Newman. I wanted to do this because I wanted to bring more involvement for the youth of like mental health, drug abuse, alcoholism, and like vaping and stuff like that, and try to put like a stop to it or like safe ways to get out of it, or just like helping them and like achieve better for themselves. And I just want to thank you guys again for allowing me this opportunity to grow my skills.
Thank you, Madison. We appreciate you both taking time to be here this evening, and thank you for signing up to serve on the Youth Council. That's great.
Thank you.
Council members, any questions, comments? Okay. We will go to members of the public on this item. If any member of the public would like to speak to this item, please go ahead and come forward if you are in the room. Raise your hand if you're on Zoom. Seeing none, we will close the public comment period, and City Clerk, we will go to you for the vote.
Shumway.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
Somerville.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Newman. Recused. Gabriel.
Yes.
And Harrington.
Yes.
Mayor, we have 8 yeses and 0 nos.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item has been approved. We will move on to item 12. Councilor Richardson, please.
All right. I move that council approves the submission of a grant agreement for FAA's Airport Infrastructure Grant, project number 03-50-017-047-2023 for Laramie Regional Airport to reconstruct runway lighting and install runway end identifier lights on runways 12/30 and 3/21 in the amount not to exceed $1,580,401 and authorize the mayor and city attorney to sign.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Richardson, second by Councilor Pierce. Director Terrell, welcome.
Your Honor, council members, Amy Terrell with the airport. Today I'm here to ask for your approval for a runway lighting project. What essentially this is it's a project to take out all of our current existing nav aids, which are navigational aid systems, and we're going to convert to an LED project. Everything will become LED on the field. For numerous reasons this is important. This has been on the planning, it's part of the BILL money, which is our AIG, which is Airport Infrastructure Grant Program, and that money is to be used at airports for the actual infrastructure of the airport. This money we receive based on employment, so all airports that receive this money, it's based on the amount of employments. This has been scheduled with the airport for some time. This has been a lot of money and a lot of planning going into this. When we had our inspection 2 years ago, this was one of the areas that we did not succeed because the lights, a lot of the cans have sunk into the ground, some of the electrical issues. It's an old lighting system out there. So we're really excited to have this opportunity to put something in. It will bring the cost down of our electricity, which is exciting. So that's something we're hoping for, that we can get that cost to come down. If it's approved today, or if we go ahead and approve it and sign this grant, I don't think it's going to happen probably until the end of this fiscal year. Modern Electric here in Laramie has bid the project and was awarded the project. So that is who would be working with us. And the federal grant portion of it is $1,585,000. The state match is $50,052.63, and the local match from the airport is $33,368.42, taking the total project to $1,668,421.05. I haven't presented to the commission yet. I will be there next week, so next Tuesday I'll present to the commission. Our board is aware of it and has voted it through pending approval from both the council and the commission. So this is what I present for approval.
Thank you.
Questions?
Council members, any questions? Please, Councilor O'Doherty.
Is Rocky Mountain Power the power supplier for the airport?
I believe so.
Could be Carbon, huh? Okay.
I believe it is Rocky Mountain
Just
Power.
wondering, maybe it might be worth applying for grants for lighting.
Honorable Mayor, I'm actually drafting an email to Amy about the WattSmart program to look into.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you
Maybe not those
both.
lights, but other lights. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you both. Councilor Richardson.
Thank you. Has the current lighting impacted the the flights that can come in or out at night?
Currently, we have not had problems. So if we have lights go out or our reels at the end of the runways, which tell us where the ending of the runway is, we have what we call as a NOTAM system, and we NOTAM that out and let them know. But we've never had an issue with the lights not working at the airport. They're always clicking on. We have electrical companies here that are fantastic, so I'm fixing it, and the FAA is aware of them too. So we all kind of watch those, but we haven't had problems. Some of the write-up that we got, we use different, so when you stand and look at the runways, all the lights should be perfectly straight, same height, nothing tilting, and we can get them all, we got them all the same light, the same wattage. Some of the problems are the cans have sunk, they're these great big cans in the ground that run the electricity. Some of the cans have sunk, so one of the suggestions was pull the can up, and our engineers tell us if we do that, we'll be disconnecting all the wires. So we haven't messed with that, but we're waiting for this project. So no, we haven't had a problem yet, and I hope we don't. So.
One more question. Please. And if you are able to get the grant and change out this lighting, how much downtime do you anticipate with the change out?
They would be doing sections of the runways at different times. So it's really important to us that this doesn't disrupt any service. So they will be working on sections. They can be working overnight as well.
Great.
So we do anticipate coordinating with the air. Of course, we'd let all our partners know, but we don't anticipate pulling the runways down.
Thank you.
Thank you. And would it affect beyond sort of like when you say wouldn't affect service, would that affect any service to private aviators?
I don't believe so. So it depends on the winds the day they're doing it. So if we have crosswinds that we can't manage that day, that could have impact whether or not they can land on the crosswind runway.
Okay.
But our intent, hopefully we're working on mainly in the evenings, so we don't disrupt too much during the day.
Thank you. Council members, any other questions? Okay. Thank you, Director Terrell. We'll go to members of the public on this. Any member of the public wishing to speak to the council on this item can please come forward or raise your hand if you are on Zoom. Seeing none, we will close the public comment period. Council members, any final comments before the vote? City Clerk, you can call the roll.
Richardson.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Somerville.
Yes.
Cumbie.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item has been approved. Thank you, Director Terrell. Item 13, Vice Mayor Cumbie.
Sorry, I had to find it.
No problem.
I had to open the previous one. I move to approve Resolution 2023-67, authorizing the replacement of additional police vehicles due to supply chain issues and amending appropriations for the fiscal year 2023 through 2024 biennial budget of the City of Laramie, Wyoming, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign.
Second.
Okay, motion by Vice Mayor Cumbie, second by Councilor Gabriel. Director Wade, please come forward. Welcome.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Councilors. Chief Brown and I will be sharing the staff background tonight for this amendment, as it is a collaborative effort. And so I'm just going to speak to you tonight from a budget standpoint, and then I'll ask the chief to come to the podium and give you a little bit more detail on why he needs additional units this biennium. So I want to just make a couple of points before I talk about the budget impact. The first is that these are replacement units, and so we're actually not growing the fleet. And what we're actually doing is taking scheduled replacements from next biennium and moving them up due to supply chain issues. And so the chief will tell you a little bit more about that, but you don't need to be concerned that you're growing the fleet or that there's something going on that is material outside of the budgeting process here. I think we're all aware of the supply chain issues that we've experienced over the last few years. What I will also tell you from my perspective as a member of the budget team is that we are aware of significant deferred maintenance needs in the police fleet. The former chief did not recommend units for replacement for quite some time, and so there is a buildup, if you will, that we need to address, and so I support this amendment from that standpoint. I will also remind you that when you approve capital items like a capital project or an acquisition of material fleet, that you are making a specific purpose budgetary authorization. And so you'll notice in your budget resolution that you're approving the acquisition of 10 additional police units, so that is the specific purpose budget authorization if you choose to approve it, for a total amount of $600,000. The chief and I do believe that estimate is pretty close to the mark. I plan to finance around $350,000 of the purchase over a 4-year term and use $250,000 in impact assistance fees. Those are estimated amounts for financing right now because, of course, we're not going to finance things like vehicle upfitting costs, and we know with patrol cars that those come into play. And so that's my best guess at how the financing is going to shake out. And of course, if you approve this budget amendment tonight, one of the things that you'll see on a future council agenda is approval of lease purchase financing. And so if you have any questions about the budget side of things, I'd be happy to answer them at this time. If not, I think it's best if we turn it over to the chief for a little bit more background.
Thank you, Director Wade. Council members, any questions before we go to the chief? Chief Brown, go ahead, come forward. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, council members. Thank you for this opportunity, and thank you to Jennifer and her team. They've done a phenomenal job working with us to get this put together, as Brooks and his team. Our fleet is aging. So last year, or actually, I believe it was last year, we had 8 vehicles, on September 6th, we had 8 vehicles approved by council, a bid for 8 hybrid Ford Explorers. They were supposed to be here within 365 days. We reached out again last week, as we've done multiple times since I've been here, and we don't even have a build-out date. I reached out to some of our partners, and I received a response from the Wyoming Highway Patrol that said they also received an estimate from Ford recently, and their estimate was over 730 days. So we're not sure when we're going to get those 8 vehicles. The order is still in place. We are contracted to receive those vehicles whenever they're going to be built. We just don't know when they're coming. So what we're looking for is approval for 10 vehicles for our aging fleet. I'll share with you some of the vehicles that we're looking at trading in. Is a 2007 Chevy Trailblazer. We have a 99 Chevy van in our fleet, 2 2009 Impalas, several 2011 Crown Vics, I believe 4, and 8 Ford Tauruses, and most of those vehicles aren't even made anymore. So we're asking for approval to make sure that we can provide continual service to our citizens accurately and timely and efficiently. What we're asking for as part of this bid is an opportunity to have those vehicles delivered within 30 days. And there are police vehicles at different lots in different areas in our nation that have that availability. I don't know which ones exactly we're going to be looking at or getting bids from. I don't know that we'll be getting any Ford bids. They seem to have the most significant delay time, especially after COVID. And some of the reasons how we got here, it's a lot of it does have to do with COVID. We haven't had an opportunity to get many new vehicles. And our fleet committee, with our fleet team, recommends that we get approximately 4 vehicles a year to keep our fleet where it needs to be. And that's how we got to that number of 8. Over the last 2 fiscal years, it would have been 8 vehicles had we received them, which we didn't. But since 2017, we've only received 10 new cars that we've ordered. To be consistent with the fleet committee recommendation, we should have received 28 at this point by the end of this year. So we're looking for these 10 vehicles to kind of hopefully hold our fleet, keep it where it's at until we receive the additional 8 vehicles from Ford, which we don't know when they're coming. It still could be a few years out. I know Dan's not here, but I will add this is still significantly cheaper than just one fire engine. And we so it's kind of a force multiplier for the city. With that, I'll take any questions that you may have.
That might be a cheap shot, Chief.
I think I owe him one.
Council members, any questions? So, Chief, we would have the 8 Ford vehicles and 10 additional vehicles, correct?
Yes, and depending on how the bid comes out, we won't know what those are until the bid comes out.
Okay.
But the 8 vehicles eventually, realistically, I think a conservative time frame is probably 6 months to a year out for those vehicles based on what we're seeing. Because like I said, the Wyoming Highway Patrol bid is about 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Council members, yeah, Councilor Gabriel, please.
Thanks. Chief, since there's that lag in delivery from Ford, are we committed to that? Or is there a possibility of going elsewhere?
Sure.
Because that time frame seems to be quite large.
Through you, Honorable Mayor, Council Member, so with the current contract, we're tied to it with the 8 vehicles we have. So we're waiting for those vehicles, and we're committed to that contract as a team. And I've spoke with the city attorney and our fleet team, and they agree that we're committed to that contract. With the next 10, the way that we're going to recommend the bid is different. We're going to recommend that they be delivered to our outfitter within 30 days, I believe. It was either 30 or 60 days, with the hope of finding some that are currently on lots. And even if we have to split up some of those bids where it's 2 or 3 cars here, 4 cars there, hopefully we can get to that number of 10 and get some of our fleet replaced. The other issue that we're also having is we have a significant amount of maintenance issues with our fleet. I think last week I went to our fleet maintenance team and we had 6 vehicles there getting repairs. So it's a significant cost on them too.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other questions? Councilor Richardson, please.
With the idea then to be next year, get back on schedule to having 4 each year, is that what you anticipate, or?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So we continually meet with our fleet committee and look at the needs of the other areas in our city. We would like to, and that's the recommendation at this time, but it really depends on our finance team, what we have the funds to be able to do. And sometimes we're in a position where we're able to do more or less. But if we can consistently stay in that ballpark, in some years it might be 2, in some years it might be 6, I think that's the goal. So this will definitely help carry us over. And hopefully if we have to, we can help out some of our partners and let them get the vehicles they need first. But the supply chain issues across the board, I think Brooks has talked about it before with trash trucks and other vehicles, and I know that Dan's feeling it with the fire chief with ambulances and fire trucks.
Any other questions, council members? Councilor Newman, please.
Chief, would it be safe to say the the ones that we're looking at getting, if this resolution passes, will they all be the same brand, or are we looking at different brands?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So to be honest with you, I'll take whatever's a new vehicle and working. Ideally, I know for our fleet team, it's easier if it's the same brand, which is what we would like to do. But at this point, I think we may need to take whatever's available.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other questions, Council? Okay. Thank you, Chief. Any members of the public wish to speak to this item, just go ahead and come forward or raise your hand if you're on Zoom. Okay, seeing none, I will close that public comment period. Back to the council for any comments before the vote. Vice Mayor, please.
I need to make an editorial change in the motion, and it reads additional police vehicles due to supply change issues, and it should be supply chain. And I recognized that when I read it out, so I read it out correctly, but I'd like to make a motion to change, make that editorial. Okay.
Thank you both. Okay. City Clerk, you can call the roll.
Somerville.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 noes, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item has been approved. Item 14, Councillor O'Doherty, please.
I move to approve original ordinance number 2065, amending Title 15.14.050.I of the Laramie Municipal Code as recommended by the Planning Commission on first reading in accordance with findings of fact and conclusions of law.
Second.
Motion by O'Doherty, second by Richardson. Mr. Sheedy, welcome.
Honorable Mayor, Council, tonight I have before you a amendment to our Laramie Municipal Code, specifically Section 15, which is known as the Unified Development Code for the city. We are looking currently to change some of our requirements for dumpsters, recycling, and trash enclosures. Partially due to major changes that have occurred within the community within the last year. As some of you might have known, one of our major trash haulers within the city has changed and significant increases in rates have occurred. And as such, we found that many individuals in the town are trying to switch back to city services. The amendment before you is primarily going to affect the commercial businesses within the city who are required to have dumpsters, but who they choose to service those dumpsters is up to them. Now, what we have found in the past, us and Public Works have found, is that many of these individuals have chosen to use the private sector trash service, and their enclosures are significantly smaller than ours and are not able to be served by our trash trucks. And as such, we've had to turn away multiple entities from service primarily because of this. Now, these entities can change their trash enclosures to match current city standards. However, it's an additional expense, and many times the person who has developed this site has changed maybe 2-3 times since the lot was developed. And so it comes as somewhat of a surprise to these developers that we cannot service these and that the city code does not just automatically match what the city needs. So this amendment primarily looks at size of these enclosures and other materials that are going to make these enclosures more stable and safe for the community. Additionally, as per one of our previous work sessions, we had talked about removing the requirement completely for recycling at multifamily complexes. We found that from the work session that we do not want to remove that completely, but kind of give a better out to those individuals who are at those complexes. Currently, as discussed during that work session, Public Works is unable to service many of these locations with recycling. This text amendment was done in collaboration with Public Works and with their guidance in order to create a better amendment and make it have a longer impact for the city. We recommend, the city planning department does recommend approval of this amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Sheedy. Council members, any questions? Councilor Doherty, please.
When people had their trash collected by the private entity, it was still coming to our landfill, right? So we'll have the same amount of trash coming to the landfill, right?
Mayor, through you.
Please.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Council members, any other questions? Okay. We will go to members of the public on this item. If there's any members of the public that wish to speak to this, please go ahead and come forward if you're in the room. Raise your hand if you are on Zoom. Seeing none, I will close the public comment period. Move on to any comments before the vote by council members. Okay. City Clerk, you can call the roll.
Gabriel.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Somerville.
No.
Shumway.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses and 1 no, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item has been approved. We will move on to public comments. Any member of the public wishing to speak to any item may come forward now or raise your hand on Zoom. Seeing none, we will close that public comment period. Council members, any consideration of future council work session topics this evening? Okay. Councilor Pierce, to you for item 17. Oh, yeah, please. Councilor Shumway.
I think we need to have a discussion regarding some form of prayer or moment of silence, at least consider whether or not the city council is willing to adopt that as something that we will have as part of our meeting.
Okay.
I'd agree.
Okay. Sounds great. Any others? Okay. Councilor Pierce.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that we adjourn to executive session regarding litigation, Wyoming statute 16-4-405, lowercase a, Roman numeral 3, and land negotiations, Wyoming statute 16-4-405, lowercase a, Roman numeral 7.
Second.
Motion by Pierce, second by Richardson. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, thank you, council members. We are adjourned to executive session.
Councilors online.